Your computer.
Opening Deb is there.
All right. Got everybody quiet. So, what I wanted to do today is I want to speak on purpose and purpose for what we are in our lives because it's the question is really understanding what purpose is and what our purpose is in our life. And that's from birth. That's from when we were born, what we chose, what we propelled in motion through our lives is what we actually experience. And we have to kind of realize that we chose our name, we chose our date of birth, we chose our place of birth, we chose our parents, we chose the whole thing to start our lives out with. And then as we got older, we attract more people in our lives, situations within our lives. We started attracting more people within our lives to change our perspective of where we're supposed to be. But there's always, as I've always said when I've done readings for people, we don't pick, we don't pick the designation on this earth plane. We've already picked that. The designations through our lives, the points of interest through our lives have all been picked. They've already been put in motion. It's how we arrive. It's how we propel ourselves to it. And that's what we have our decision of how we get to where we need to be. Because we're still going to get to a situation within our lives that we are going to be in a position in our lives to figure out the journey, figure out how the vibration propels itself in motion. That's what we get to do. And how we see that, how we see our purpose. I have a lot of individuals that I will do readings for and do things for. And what they do is they beat themselves up over childhood, things that have happened in their lives, situations that didn't work out as well as they should have. They beat themselves up for years. They beat themselves up and never really see the journey. They only see the event, not the journey. So they spend most of maybe 10, 15 years dwelling in that vibration instead of seeing what the purpose is. Because the purpose, people ask me, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Why did I choose? What is my purpose? I have a strong feeling that our purpose changes as we move through our life. It's how we affect people. We might decide that we wanted to affect something in one situation, but what if not through our understanding of this earth plane? We affect them in the same way, but in a different vibration, in a different situation. It's how we perceive our life. I can have something happen in my life, be miserable for 5, 6 years, and then I come in contact with somebody and then I'm miserable to them. I'm miserable because I'm miserable. And I wasn't really supposed to be miserable. I wasn't supposed to be that. And I've changed some kind of attitude within that person's life. So and I told my mother used to tell me, before you say something, stop, write it down, take a moment, see if it's going to be feasible. Will it help somebody? Will it encourage them? Will it bless them on their journey? Will it bless them on their journey? So, what you're doing is you're trying to figure out if it blesses them on their journey. That's what you're looking to do. What you tell them, what you propel in motion. Because your purpose is how you perceive your life, how you perceive it, not how you're looking at it, how you're putting in motion what you're doing. It's how you perceive your life. That's what takes in motion. That's what gets propelled in motion within your life. It's how you perceive it. So, as you move down the journey, always take stock. Take stock of where you are. Look around you, figure out what's going on in your life, what's happening, what's going on in your life, and then in that process, start to move forward. But take stock every once in a while, and then understand and ask your guides. I've said here by these classes before, ask your guides, is there something I missed, something I should have seen, something I should have put in motion? Could you please show it to me? Then allow your guides to propel that in motion, propel that situation within your life, propel it, get it in motion in your life. Because what you want to really do is to be watchful of where your guides want you. Because when you enter this airplane, you picked your parents, but through your life, you picked different avenues, different roadways to get yourself to where you need to be, to cross paths, to cross the situation where these people are. So your purpose becomes this vibration, this vibration of connecting to where you feel you need to be. So figure out that vibration. And we all need that time every once in a while to figure out our journey and what's is our journey at this point. Because journeys change. They don't stay the same. They change throughout our lives. And what is the journey? What is its perspective? We're all going through this thing now with the pandemic and different things going on in people's lives. Some of us are sequestered in our homes. Different things are happening. We can't see our kids. We can't see our grandparents. Jobs have stopped. All this stuff is happening, which is changing our forward motion. Not with any cause from us changing it. It is the universe, the earth is changing our forward motion. So we have to stop, take stock of where we are, and then personally move forward of where we are. And that's by talking to your guides, be having that true understanding of your guides. What are your guides trying to tell you? What are they explaining to you? And guides, I would tell people, guides are repetitious. They will keep clicking you with something in your life to get your attention. That's what they will do. They will continually try their best to get your attention within your life. And then if you have to be somewhere, they will drag you kicking and screaming, but they will drag you. If you have to be somewhere to cross paths and be where somebody is that you will affect, or for them to affect you, you have to cross that vibration. One way or the other, you will cross that vibration. So the journey, it's the journey. That's what it is. It's the journey in our lives, the vibration in our lives of how we perceive the situation within our lives, the situation, then weigh the possibilities. There's endless possibilities of what can be seen from that direction. You can look behind you, you can look in front of you, you can look up, you can look down, you can look over here. There's different endless possibilities that would actually propel itself forward if you just gave it a moment, looked at it. And that's the path. And when I do readings, I see readings in people, I see paths and different things in people's lives. Some people are walking on cement, sometimes they're walking on cobblestones, sometimes green moss. There's different paths that people wander off on. And by looking at the path, I get a really good understanding of where they are in their journey. Because on a moss covered path, it means that the path is padded. It is being protected for them. So if they do make a slight mistake or a slight miscalculation, the path will protect them. It'll be soft when they sit down, or soft if they go off their feet. Concrete gives you this complete situation of moving forward, of not having any ripples or different things within the path. So by looking at that, it gives you this straight shot to where you need to be. Cobblestones, you have to watch your path. You have to watch where you're walking, where you're placing your feet, what you're actually putting in motion. If you're ungrounded, it means that ungrounded people are only going to see that panoramic view of the vibration around you, not just one specific view, but a panoramic view. By being grounded, think of your life. If you're grounded, you've got a hedge that is 12 to 15 feet high. Now you're walking the path, you get glimpses through the hedge, but you don't really get that view, that vibration of view. But when you're ungrounded, you float above the hedge, and you get this view over the hedge, which is unobstructed. And through our lives, we are grounded or ungrounded. We don't stay completely grounded. We don't stay completely ungrounded. We switch from back and forth as we feel like we need to. So we propel ourselves in that direction or that vibration within our lives. And that comes with your health, your money, your relationships, where you are, where you live. All these things have vibrational rates within our lives. So we have to figure out our vibrational rate. Where are we? What are the vibration in our lives? I've talked in one of the classes. I've told people that the best thing we can do in our lives is figure out where you were born. Get a numerology chart off the internet. Get one that takes your the ABCs and divides and puts them into numbers. You go from 1 to 9, and then you start at 1 at A, go all the way to 9, then come back to A again, and go all the way across again until you get out the whole alphabet. Then pick where you were born. Whether Rochester, New York, you would do Rochester, New York, and you would get the numerology value of that. You take your name at birth. Men have it differently than women because we usually don't change our names. We keep the name that we were born with. It's the first, middle, last name, whatever you were born with. So if you got married in your life and you changed your last name, it's not the name you use. You use what you were born with, what you were born into the vibration. So you take that, get the numerology value for that. Then you take your month, your day, and your year, like 1968 or 1964, whatever your year is, and add that together and get the numerology value for that. Then what you do is if you have the time and date, time, AM, PM of your birth, get that. Add all those together. Add them all together. And if it comes up to a master number, then master. But you have to see where that places you. Now, if you're a 8 or a 9 or a 6 or a 4 or a 5, you at least know where your boundaries are, your vibration is. So through your life, whatever town you live in, wherever you place yourself, whatever you do in your life, you get the numerology value of that. So your home, you get the number off the front of the house, just off the front of the house, and break it to single digits. Or if it's a master home, so that house should be above you, above your vibration, above you. It should. You look at where you placed yourself. If you moved from, let's say, New York, and you went all the way down to, let's say, Florida, you go wherever you placed yourself. I moved from New York. I moved from New York to Florida. So that signifies that vibration within my life. So I had to figure out, I moved from an 8 in New York.
That's weird, yeah.
I moved from an 8 in New York. Uh, 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 I moved from an 8 in New York, and I moved all the way down to Florida, to Casadega, at this point where I am in Casadega, and it's a 4. 4 is where I am. So I had to make sure that my house, me and my wife, add up to a 6. Her birthday, all the stuff in her life, where she was born, everything else, adds up to 6. Mine adds up to a 6. So I think maybe we're a pair. Maybe that's it. But the question is, I had to bring something above the 6. I have to bring something above the 6. So when you look at this, you add all those together. You add your name, birth, place of birth, time of birth, birthday. You get all the numerology value of that. It kind of gives you a purpose at the beginning of your life because that's what you chose. You chose your parents, chose all this stuff. So now you've got your numerology value of that for you. So what you do, then you take that, and wherever you move, wherever you place yourself, I'm in a 4 town, Casadega, Florida, 4. But I live in a 6 house. And both me and my wife are 6s. I work out of a 6 house. We're both 6s. So I've got something at me or above me. It's when you get into something in your life, let's say you're a 7, your whole vibration, your name, your place where you're born, all this stuff adds up to, let's say you're 7. But you live in Florida, you live in a town in Florida, and it's a 1. You work in a 1 job. You live in a 1 house. You sit here. Everything in your life is below you. Nothing's near you. And a lot of people get older in their life and they go, well, I'm okay. But what happens is people get restless when they start to retire, not because they need to move, not because they need to place themselves somewhere else. The question is because they lost their job. They're not working there anymore. So the numerology value of their job has now changed. Now they only have the house and the town they live in. And sometimes that changes the whole movement of their life, of where they're supposed to be. I found that out in my life. That works very well. Like figuring out your path, figuring out your journey, figuring out your situation within your life, and keeping it balanced. Keeping it balanced. So you want something above you. It kind of gives you this purpose, this vibration within your life to get you to where you need to be. Then you figure out how you want to raise your vibration. How do you want to raise it vibration? How you want to see the path? What do you want to see the vibration? I always think the next doorway, they're going to show me something else. So I'm always looking for that next door, that next vibration, that next connection to higher sense of consciousness as I'm moving closer and closer to another vibration. So you're always looking for anticipation of something coming, not something bad. I love it when people say, "Oh my God, Lou, my life is awful," and blah, 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 blah. They keep going on like that. But what you're going to do is you're going to see awful. You're going to see something crazy coming through that door. I only see positive coming. I only see positive coming. And if there is negative, I will deal with it. But I only see positive coming. I don't propel that. I've been doing readings most of my life, and I explain to people I've never once in my life protected myself. I don't run around my house with smudge. I don't do a little Indian dance. I don't throw water. I don't do any of that because that's not where I go. I place my energy field at a highest, what's ever for my highest and best, for mine, not for somebody else's, but for mine. What was my highest and best, and that's all I'm going to be trying to attract is for my highest and best, and that's what I propel out into the spirit world. Because we have our guides, we have our protectors, we have these people that follow us, plus we have our loved ones who love us and connect to us. So we allow them to be part of the vibration, be part of the connection within our lives. So we have to realize that everything within our lives is connected to a higher sense of consciousness. Everything. It doesn't matter where we live, where we do, our children, even our children, our grandparents, our parents, everybody in our life has a purpose. There's a purpose, they're there. Sometimes we have purposes in our lives that we think is completely nuts, completely out. But it doesn't, there's a reason they're there. My father used to say, well, when you get to heaven, don't be looking over the other part of heaven and wondering why somebody else got there. Because they might be looking at you and wondering how you got there. So by judging something in our lives in a negative way or a situation within our lives, only sending people positive energy, positive vibration, no matter what they've propelled in motion. My mother I used to tell people, you just wish they win the lottery and move away, move somewhere else, go somewhere else, or I win the lottery and I go, but not ill, not wishing ill on something else or some other vibration. I had a gentleman that came to me one time and he said, Lewis, my wife's pregnant and I want her out of the house. So I want you to cast a spell. I said, really? This is going to be cool. We're going to cast a spell. So anyway, I said, I don't really do that. I said, I'm not going to cast a spell. So he went and found somebody to cast a spell. So he buried this little thing in his yard right next to his front door. He's going to pull her out of the house, out of the house. Well, he went to work. When she came out of the house, the thing exploded and came out of the ground. His wife found it. And then she filed for divorce and she got everything from him. And he finally called me. He said, I probably shouldn't have done that because you were putting out this negative energy into something that it's just going to come back to you tenfold. We send out positive energy, comes back to us tenfold. We send out negative, tenfold. We ask for prosperity. We give things to people. We give of our time, our energy. It comes back to us tenfold. It comes back into our vibration. And for the purpose, for our journey, we might not know exactly what we need for the journey. We might need a pickaxe. We might need some pole diggers. We might need something. We don't know that. We don't know that until we get further down the path. But the guides know that. They know what we need. And it's that question of understanding how you propel yourself down the path, how you envision the path. That's what you look at. How do you personally envision the path for yourself? You. It's not being selfish. I explain to people, sometimes we pick on life lessons, challenges, and things in our lives that have nothing to do with us. Nothing. Zero, nothing, nothing. We're just collateral damage. We're just walking through. And sometimes we take it on so intently that it stops us from propelling in our life down our path for our purpose. Our purpose eventually does happen in our lives, but it might not happen when we think it should because we're too busy looking at something else, putting ourselves somewhere else. So we always have to realize that we have to ask our guides, explain to them, because we have that connection, that higher sense of consciousness. We're connected to them. We're still, even though we're living here and we're in this body, we're still fully connected to the spirit world. We're connected. We actually have these visions of the spirit world and different dominions and different situations on the other side, especially when we dream or we daydream or we have different things happen in life. We have little visions of the places that we are still visually connected to. So by being connected to them, you can still speak to them. Everybody can speak to spirit, but it's not how I speak, it's how you feel spirit. You connect to them, you have a sense, you have a knowing. My mother used to call it the knowing. You have a knowing that something is, you need to do this. I really need to do this. And you point yourself in that direction. It's not because you don't know why you have to do it. You just know, I got to go do that. I have to do that. But remember, when you do stuff, make sure that everything works. If you're all hell's breaking loose, if the basket is frayed and all hell's breaking loose, back up. It doesn't get better. Back, stop, take a breath, breathe, then move forward again. It should work. If you're trying to sell your house and it's not selling, maybe you're just not supposed to move right now. Maybe you're just not supposed to go anywhere right now. If you're looking for a job so intently in one direction, maybe you need to change directions of your job if you can't find one. Maybe you're looking in one direction and spirit doesn't want you working there. Doesn't want you doing that anymore. So if you keep pushing it, guide said, well, you just keep looking that way. There's nothing over there. And you'll just keep standing there. I love it when people have relationships, people in their life. They want somebody. But what if the person you're looking for isn't ready yet? Maybe they're not through the divorce yet. Maybe they're not quite ready for a relationship yet. The person that's perfect for you. But you're out looking. Oh my God, I got to find somebody. Well, maybe it's not time. Maybe the vibration isn't ready yet. And that's what we always have to ask our guides. Okay, I'm doing everything. Is there anything else I need to do? Anything else I need to put in motion? Show me. Show me if there's something else I need to put in motion, and allow them to find you on the path. Allow them to guide you, propel you in the journey. See, I don't believe that we're here living some kind of karmic debt from 100 years ago. In some past life, you you did something, and in this lifetime, boy, you're going to pay for it. I don't believe that. I believe we did that lifetime. We encouraged that lifetime, and it played out exactly the way it was supposed to play out for us and for others. And in this lifetime, we get a whole new set of instructions. I almost compare it to like a Monopoly game. We get a Monopoly game, we play Monopoly in our last lifetime. And this lifetime, we might get the game of life. We didn't get the Monopoly game. We got the game of life this time. So now we're going to go play that. Maybe the lifetime after this, you might play Yahtzee. Maybe you're just playing Yahtzee for your whole life. We don't know what we're going to be playing, but we decided that that is what we picked up. And that's the journey we want to take. And we affect people's lives, even through our passing to spirit, we affect vibrations in people's lives. I spent a lot of time in my life working with people that were in hospice, that were dying, and trying to figure out why at this point in their life, they were leaving. Why? I've dealt with some people that were in their 20s that were passing, they're going to spirit. And they weren't just 20 years old, they're young. And I would touch base with them. I would actually, I have this gift of touching in on people and going to where they are on a spiritual sense. And I would have people standing somewhere, just standing there looking off in the distance. And I'd walk up next to them and go, What's happening? What's going on? They go, oh, no, I got to go now. And I've had a lot of discussions with people that were leaving. And on their spiritual sense, their idea of why they were here was done. They had affected what they needed to affect, and their passing the spirit was going to finish whatever that wasn't finished. It was going to finish the energy that they had propelled into this earth plane. So it changes when people die. I don't care what people say, oh, people die. It changes a person's life. It changes them. It changes some vibration. The person's not here anymore. Changes their perspective, changes their direction. Maybe it just changes their energy field because they can't connect to them anymore. They're not here anymore. They're not physical. So it changes your movement or your changes your vibration in your life. The easiest thing I can say that is my grandmother used to go out, my grandfather, and eat breakfast every Sunday morning. They'd go out and eat breakfast. Then my grandfather died, and my grandmother ate breakfast by herself a couple times. Then she stopped eating breakfast at that place. It changed her perspective. She didn't go there anymore. She just didn't. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same vibration anymore because Grandpa wasn't there. And that's what happens in our lives. Things leave our lives. Things vacate themselves. But we have to look at where the next journey is, the next doorway, the next vibration. Because our purpose could be written on the door. It could be written on the door, and we just don't see it. Most of us are looking down and we're trying to pick stuff off the road. And I explain to people, most time people's hands are up here. They're holding stuff up here. They're not dead on the ground. So we have to look up. We have to look up. Can't look down. We have to look up. I know a story from a church book that I had years ago. Used to be called. It was a story. It was called A Loft, and what happened is this sailor was on board ship with this older man, and a little young kid. He went running up the mast, all the way up the mast, the very top, and he kept looking down, and he kept getting seasick because the boat was moving back and forth, and that top that thing would just move back, so he was getting seasick. And the old sailor down on the deck would say, "Look aloft, look up, look up." And as soon as he started looking up, the sickness went away. Because the movement of the boat, if you've ever been on major big boats, I was in the Navy, but if you're big boats, you understand that if you look up, the movement of the boat stops. And when you're concentrating too much on the waves and the movement of the boat is when you get sick. Look up, look aloft. And we have that in our life. We spend too much time looking down, looking at what's happening. Somebody tells us something, we dwell looking at that vibration instead of looking, sure, that got told to us, but what is the next door? What is the next vibration that we should look at? Sure, that happened, but what am I supposed to be doing with this? The information? What is that? What is this information going to do for me? What is it going to do for me? Because if we have this whole connection of moving in a direction and not understanding where we're going, then we lose our direction. We have to go off path. Sometimes we pick up life lessons and then we end off path. We end up somewhere and oh my God, then we end up back on the path, but then we're exhausted. We're tired. We're exhausted. It was a journey. Stay close to the path. You can get off the path if you want to, but remember you keep your eye on the path, not on the excursion into the bushes, but what's still on the path. When I teach meditation, it's not the meditation. I don't teach you to go see the mountain. I might be taking you to the mountain, but I don't want you to see the mountain. I want you to see what's going on with you when you first close your eyes and you go into meditation. What's the first thing you start to envision? That is your first connection to your guides. What's the first thing? A color? An animal? A flower? What do you first see when you close your eyes? What are your guides trying to show you? What are they trying to propel in front of you? That's your first vibration. I might see a rose if I close my eyes. You might see a sunflower. You might see a geranium. You might see some other type of flower. I don't see that. It's not part of my vibration. It's not part of my journey. It's part of yours. And we start realizing what is propelling itself in front of us, we can make some kind of game plan. We can figure out, okay, this is the game plan. Now, what do I do now? How do I move forward now? And that's just by stopping, by understanding and listening to what you guys are doing. Because we're in times in our lives now, the chimes are changing. I think they had a song back in the 60s, times they are changing. And we have to realize that this will get back to normal. Everything will start to get back to a new normal. I don't think the Earth planet has ever been actually normal. So we don't really get back to the original normal. We just get back to our new normal. And we have to realize is what is your new normal? Not what is mine or somebody else's. What is your new normal for you? That's what you have to work on. I had individuals say this, well, I want this, 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 and this. I said, do you want that for you or do you want it for everyone else? Because if you want it for everyone else, they can have it, but then you're still not going to be happy because it's not really what you want. Is that what you want? Is that what you actually would like to see in your life? Because when we use these parts of our cycles, when we ask spirit, they leave us, they run, and they go get exactly what we asked for. If it's not a life lesson for us, here it comes. You can hear the truck beeping as it backs up to your front door. It's coming because you asked for that. Now, are you going to be happy if that truck arrives here? If Amazon arrives at your house tomorrow with a package, are you going to be happy with the package? Or is it something that you ordered for someone else and you're not too happy with it? Are you going to be happy with what's arriving at your home, at your personal vibration? Don't put yourself somewhere and throw yourself completely out of balance because you think that that is the best thing. Everybody else wants me to do that. Everybody wants me to do that. But the question is you have to find your own vibration, your own peace. I spent a lot of my teenage years going into my adulthood. My father wanted me to be an evangelist. I was a really good preacher, really good. I was good at it. But didn't click with me. It didn't really click the vibration with me. I couldn't say when I saw a spirit walking around through the whole audience. And I was supposed to tell the congregation there was spirit in the place. I was supposed to tell them that I saw people and I heard them. I tell people I hear voices, I listen to the voices, and I do what the voices tell me to do. So I'm already the best psych patient you can find because I listen to everything. So the question is when you realize that if you start listening, and wait, you don't have to do, sometimes guides have a little sick sense of humor. You don't have to do exactly what they tell you to do, but you can trade up, you can rearrange, you can reset the vibration. Doesn't mean you have to follow the exact path that you believe that, because we have the trumpet that we use for seances. We have this large trumpet that floats around the room and spirit talks to you. Sometimes it's spirit at the other end of the trumpet and it has to go through that whole trumpet till it gets down to you. And you don't quite hear it. You hear some of the vibration. You don't quite hear the full conversation. And you think you should do that, but you get the full vibration, the full effect. That's why you stop and you breathe and you ask. You ask them, okay, you sure? You should show me. I have a guide that should show me. I like Montana. I'm the show me state, you know? You show me, I make sure that I know that that's supposed to be it. You show me that I'm supposed to see that. And I watch for repetition that shows up in my life. What shows up? What gets my attention? Most of us have things in our lives. Most of us have things in our lives that propel themselves around us. Guides are always sending us energy. I had a reading today. I told somebody, I said, you got a very large owl. You got a lot of amethyst in your vibration. Your guides are bringing you amethyst, a very large owl. And the owl had a really strong meaning to this individual because it fit where he was at this point in his life. The amethyst is more for intuition, higher vibration, connecting to a higher sense of consciousness. So they were dropping that in his life to allow him to see it, to allow him to have it around him, to know that they were taking care of him. And we have family members, people that take care of us. They bring us gifts all the time. As I said, people are too busy looking down. They don't look at the people handing them the gifts. They're looking down at something. So Ask your guides for the gifts. It's not selfish. I was told you shouldn't ask for money. It's being sacrilegious. Don't ask for money. Well, I was in a lot of churches and I used to pass the basket quite a bit. Everybody was asking for money in the church. So, I mean, asking for money, everybody's asking. I want to get the things back when my grandmother was in the Catholic Church. They had these long, like look like fishing rods. They had little baskets on the end of them. They stand in the aisle and they run down the aisle just to get you to put them in. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I always wanted to get one, but people here in Casadega said, "Well, that wouldn't be nice." But we have to realize that we're spirit is always trying to. They've got that little thing with the fishing rod trying to push it in front of you. We just have to accept it. We just say, "Oh yeah, okay, I'll take this. I'll take this." Be able to accept it, but doesn't mean you have to be sick the way they think you're supposed to be sick. If somebody tells you something, well, yeah, that's just an opinion. It is not a direction. It is an opinion. It's when we allow it to feed into ourselves. We allow things to happen within our lives. Then we allow ourselves to get that vibration. We tell them, no. You ask your guy. I ask for perfect health for a reason why not. So if there's something in my life that I need to do, something I need to put in motion, my guides will show me. I ask for $1 million or better. $1 million or better. At my age, I'm a cheap date. $1 million will last me the rest of my life. I ask for different things in my life. I do affirmations. I do them every day. I'm always propelling this energy out ahead of me so that I'm keep reinforcing it, reinforcing the energy, reinforcing the vibration. I'm reinforcing it every day, every day, every day. So it changes my perspective of my journey ahead. If, as I said here at the beginning of this, if you believe this negative is up here and you believe that, oh my God, I'm going to be sick. Oh my God, this is going to happen. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, then you'll get a little bit of my, oh my God, up the path here. Because now you've actually propelled that in motion. If you believe that you deserve it, you believe that it should be here. You haven't done that. You haven't done. Not all of us are angels. We also have not led this pious life, and we're all these beautiful angels, and we aren't. But we've done the best we could with the journey that we were assigned. We've done the best we could with the journey we were assigned in our lives. So we're doing the best we can. And I always explain to people, if Spirit wants us to do something else, they need to be more forceful, more propelled within our vibration, give us the information so we can do that. Because we're doing the best we can with what we have in our vibration. It's where you were born, it's everything in our life. I have a friend of mine who's Native American. He's out in North Dakota. Doesn't hardly have, this is where he was born, on the reservation. He's born on the reservation. He's all these things happening in his life. So all this vibration within his life is happening. But he wasn't born like me. He wasn't born where I was born, what I had in my life, where I was. He was born where he was born. So that means that his life turn was different, a different perspective, a different starting pattern in our life, in your life. So that's what you have to look at. You have to look at, where are you? What are you still dragging behind you? I think I said that last week. Some of us have this whole thing in our lives, our boxes, and we forget to mark the boxes. And we leave the boxes in there until they become dusty and crusty. And then we don't know that we should get rid of them, or if we just keep them for a little bit longer. Unless we should go back and have a clearing, have a cleaning, have a vibration in our lives. Clean, clear, reset, re-envision. That includes people. Not everybody in your life needs to be in your life. Sometimes people just come in because they love you. They want you to help them. I always have people tell me out here in Casadega, you are the soul of Casadega, Lou. If it wasn't for you, this place would fall apart. Well, maybe it should. Maybe I should be here. I can think of better places to be. It doesn't mean I have to be here. Same thing as people listening today. It means you don't have to be where you are. You might not like your neighbor. You might not like people. You don't have to stay there. Move somewhere where people love you to death. Same thing with children. Sometimes children don't come by. They don't come see you. Well, you go down to the children's home somewhere and adopt a couple of kids. Be the grandparents to them. Talk to them. You don't have to worry so much. Sometimes people are born in families not of. Sometimes we think that everything should fall in a place the way it should work. Sometimes people are in this lifetime just to be part of our lives for an instant, then move on with their life, move on somewhere else, not to be part of our lives, just be that instant that they were there, they were gone. I spent my whole life with my father and my mother. They both died when I was very young. And then I knew my grandparents more than I actually knew my parents. And actually my father-in-law, mother-in-law were in my life much longer than my parents were. So I had a stronger connection to them than I had with my parents because I wasn't with my parents that long. So the question is when we understand that sometimes we're part of a situation, but we might have to move to a different situation, a different view, a different situation, instead of still looking behind us at what the purpose was, then what the purpose should be. What is your purpose? And that everybody should ask that themselves. Get a time in their life, go, what is my purpose? Do I still have a purpose? What is my purpose? Then just watch who and what appears in your life. Maybe something appears. Maybe you're supposed to give somebody a hug. We can't hug anybody right now, so don't give anybody a hug. Don't hug anybody right now. Don't hug them. But the question is maybe you need to do something, and maybe this one thing will affect somebody's life, in turn affects somebody else, and affects a group of people, and affects a whole vibration, and you have affected this whole situation just by that one moment that you affected this one person's life. You affected all the rest of this. So that's why we kind of do this whole thing by understanding and figuring out where we are. Because when I sat in these places with these people that were dying, I'd have people sitting next to the water, or they'd be sitting on a bench looking off in the distance. I had people reading books, different things in vibration with books, just sitting there reading books on a bench. And I'd always try to figure out what the book said, or what were they reading? What in the world were they reading? Why would they be sitting here on this bench in the middle of nowhere reading a book? And I remember when I looked at quite a few of the books of people that would appear in the vibration of books, they had a pyramid, a gold pyramid on the front of the book with a starburst, and they had a starburst, and they had a line through the starburst. And that's what I would see in these books, especially the pyramid and the starburst. And the books were black leather. And these people would be thumbing through the books, reading in these books. And every time I got close to the book, they closed the book. Like I wasn't supposed to see what was in the book. But the books were always there. Always. Somewhere, wherever I envisioned somebody, the book was there. It was laying somewhere in the person's presence. So I don't know what the pyramid and the starburst has to deal with our crossing, but it is always there. The book is somewhere, or the symbol is somewhere. And I've never actually figured that out. I keep asking, but I'm not supposed to know till I cross over, and I'm not ready to go yet. So I don't I don't know why that starburst or the pyramid, but people would sit and read that book. And you always have at this time they say people are in the hospital, they're dying by themselves, and people can't visit. Well, their guides are there. People are there with them. There are people sitting in audience with them, sitting there in a room with them, keeping them company. So there's people there with them. Because when people were dying in hospice, I would walk in a room and the room would be full. It would not be empty. I might walk in the room and you might look around the room and not see anybody but the patient, but that room was full. It was full of people waiting for the person to journey home. So We have all these people waiting for us, our birth, because they're all standing here waiting for us to be born into this earth plane. They follow us through our whole lives, and they sit and wait for us to make the transition to the spirit side of life. And then we get to the other side, and then we decide, do we want to just play on the other side? Or do we want to have another lifetime? Do we pick out another purpose? Another purpose that we would like to see come to conclusion within our lives. We make that decision when we venture back home. People think that people get to the other side and they go, okay, and they take off running like jackrabbits, far away from the doorway as far as they can get. But what we do is we stand on the other side. We stand on the other side and we are counseled. We go our life in review. But the life in review is not that bad of the vibration that people have kind of connected it being bad. It's not. What it does, it shows you what happened in your life and how it affected others, how it affected others, and how it affected your well-being. So, some of us might end up on the spirit side of life and find out the whole emphasis is on us. How bad we treated ourselves, how bad we went into a vibration, how bad we went into something in our lives that drove our life down, that depleted our life energy, our life force, and eventually caused us to pass to the spirit world. Maybe it was just all us. And maybe we in this lifetime was our true life purpose. Maybe we were a life purpose, never in somebody else. We have this old connection of trying to find out what our life purpose is. Maybe we have ventured in this lifetime for us to be our own purpose. So, by learning how to meditate, by learning how to connect to yourself, by learning how to find your vibration, is to allow yourself to travel, whether it's through a dream state or through a meditative state, but learning to travel. And that all comes down to psychometry. It all comes down to that whole vibration of psychometry, the energy of an object. It's where you sit, where you meditate, you build the energy. Where you sleep at night, that bed is for sleeping. You're going to sleep there. And every night you go in there, you lay down, you go to sleep. That energy of sleeping is put where you are sleeping, where you are sleeping. So you continually build that energy in that space. So if you sit on the side of your bed, tell your guides before you close your eyes, before you lift your feet up, say, I'd really like to see the other side. Love to have a dream about the other side. And I want to remember them. Lift your feet up, go to bed. Start telling your guides that. Start reinforcing that energy as you start to lift your feet up and go to sleep. All of a sudden, you're going to have some very prolific dreams. You're going to have some very vivid dreams, vivid, lucid dreams in your vibration. You go, oh my God, I must have been there. You have to pinch yourself that it wasn't real because you would have set that in motion. Same thing with meditation. Sit and tell them what you would like to see. Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? Your guides are there at your beck and call. They're there. They're there to help you. If you want to see something, most of us sit in the theater with our popcorn, watching the credits and watching this movie, talking to everybody around us, figuring out why we're sitting here. Well, we should have been in another theater. We should have been somewhere else. But we sat here out of being polite by trying to say, oh my God, I can help these people. If your whole energy in your life is, I'm going to help, you need to re-envision that. Sure, you can help. But as you help, is it going to leave you healthy? Is it going to encourage you? Is it going to uplift you on the path? Is it going to do something that's going to help you in a spiritual way in your life? Not because you're just going to do it, do it. But don't be there completely miserable. We all have to work. We all have to make a living. We all have to have money. I tell people when I was young, people used to fly me halfway across the world because I was cute. I guess I still am. People aren't going to fly me somewhere now. So we have to make a living. We have to do our stuff in our lives. But where you make the living, are you comfortable? Are you happy? Are you content? And that comes in all the vibrations in our lives, in relationships, in where you live, even in the friendships in your life. Are these the people you need? Are these the people that are going to encourage you? You could be there as the counterpart to fix them, but you could die before they're fixed. Did it encourage you? Or did you just lose your life force and they're the same as they were before you got involved? I learned that many years. My brother was a hoarder, major hoarder. My brother used to say he was a stacker. He was not a hoarder. Stacked things. Not a hoarder, but he was a hoarder. He hoarded all this stuff. And I used to take care of him. He'd fall and stuff. I'd bring him up to my house. I'd doctor him back to health. I'd try to clean up his apartment. I'd try to clean it all up. And it would get worse every time I would go in there. And nothing I would do would fix that situation. Nothing. It didn't help. And I could have worried myself to death, worrying like, oh my God, he's going to die in there. And eventually he did. He died in there and the firemen couldn't get to him. He eventually did. But the question is would I feel guilty? No. I did everything I could possibly do. There's nothing else I could do with the situation. And sometimes we have people and relatives in our lives. We've done all we can do. God bless you. Just envision a little old lady behind you in the spirit world going, just God bless her little hearts. God bless your little hearts. Let it be. Move on. Because if you need to be there, they will move heaven and earth for you. Heaven and earth. They will move you to where you need to be. If you're supposed to have a relationship in your life, it's supposed to be there, then you explain to your guides what you need in a relationship, whether it's friendship, a personal relationship, a love, a partner, a soulmate, whatever you're looking for. Tell them what you're looking for. Give them specific of what you're looking for. That you'll take better, but you'd like that, and then allow them to go look for it. But some of us rush in. Sometimes somebody's walking past the window and we go, oh my God, they must be it. And they aren't. We move too quickly. Give it time, give it energy. Let your guides go out and maneuver this person into your life. And sometimes people are in our life just to help us, to encourage us, not to take us for our journey through our life, but just to be on our life long enough to get us to where we need to be. Maybe that was their life purpose, just to move us to where we needed to be. And sometimes people in our lives to keep us healthy, keep us where keep keep us balanced so we don't become a burden. So the question is we have to really ask our guides, what do I need to do at this point in my life? Could you please show me? Then watch for the repetition. When I do readings, I tell people some people don't belong in Florida. Some people don't. They're here because of situations in their life. I don't have a moving truck. I don't move people. The question is some people don't belong where they are. They're there because of family situations and things in their life. But you look at what appears in your life. If you're if you see Seattle, Washington, 5, 6 times, 7 times in your life, and all of a sudden somebody appears in your life from Seattle, Washington, and wants to date you, at least give them a look. Because the question is, the spirit will announce. It's like the movie theater thing. They'll put everything up on the marquee. They'll, they'll try to tell you. They'll try to show you. And then they eventually let you in to see the movie. But we have to look at the marquee. We have to get into the movie, the right movie. It isn't like when I was older. I know some of you here probably my age, a little bit young, older. We used to go to drive-in. There was one movie playing. That was it. If we didn't like the one movie, too bad. Tough luck. One movie playing. We only had one. One movie, drive-in theater, hook the thing in your window, roll up the window, and listen to the movie. And put out those little discs to get the bugs so the bugs wouldn't kill you. so, so that's what we had when we were young. So the question is now you had all these movies playing. All of them were playing at this point. So now we got to figure out what movie do we really personally would like to see in our lives. What would we like to see? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Because our purpose comes down to one thing in our lives. Are you happy? Is your purpose in your life making you extremely happy? Is it making you happy? If not, ask your guides. Have them show you if there's something you need to incorporate within your vibration of what you need in your life. I had my grandmother when she lost my grandfather, and she was miserable for quite a few years, and she didn't know what to do. And I told grandma, I said, watch what you guys do. She said, okay, I will. She said, I will entertain. I will do this. And these people kept inviting her to play bingo. She don't like bingo. She was going to play with a bunch of crazy old women playing bingo. She wasn't going to do that. But I told her, I said, Grandma, they're trying to show you something. She said, okay. And she went to go play bingo. And out of the big hall, there must have been 1,000 people in this hall playing bingo. There was only one seat open, one seat next to Goldie. And Goldie had more money than God. Goldie was just, his wife had died a few years before, and him and my grandmother struck up extremely friendship in their life. And they traveled the world for almost 15 years. They traveled all over the world. And when he died, he left my grandmother a trust fund to take care of her till she passed. Then all of it went into charities. But the question is if she would not have gone to that, she might have still met him, but she listened and went and sat right next to him, the person she was supposed to meet. So we have to realize that sometimes we just have to go, all right, I'll do that. All right, I'll do it. And we just go do it. Because sometimes the surprise or the present or the purpose in our life is just waiting for us to the next door. As when we stop on the path, we never get to the next door. We never get there. We never venture to the next door. We stay right where we are because we feel safe instead of venturing somewhere else. So find your purpose. You could be already living your purpose, your vibration in your life. But if there's something else you need to do, ask them. They're ready to propel it in your vibration. They're ready to give it to you. They're ready to propel it in motion for you. But listen to your connection within your life. So at this point, I want you to realize that you are special. God loves. He has this strong vibration for each one of us. Even though we have things in our head going, well, I probably haven't been that good. I haven't been that great. You've been as good as you were supposed to, because if you were supposed to be any different, your guides would have moved you in a direction. They would have brought up the duct tape. They would have taped you up, and they would have dragged you to where you needed to be. So you went and you did exactly what you needed to do with what you had to work with. And if I tell you now in your life, whether how old you are, how young you are, start doing affirmations in your life. Start changing the mindset. Start changing the vibration within your life, allowing them to bring new things within the vibration for you to look at. Not the same things, but new things for you to look at. So you can understand maybe there's something that I said, it's not the destination. It's never the destination. It is the journey. It's always the journey, never the destination. You'll get there. It's how you arrive. You might arrive in a brand new BMW if you want to, instead of that Beverly Hills wagon with a rocker on top. It's up to you how you arrive at where you need to be. Not spirit. Spirit will still get you there, but it's how you perceive that you should be arriving. And listen to yourself. Listen to your vibrations. If it doesn't work for you, first thought, first impression. First thought, first impression. If your first thought with something is, oh my God, that's not good, don't feed into it. Don't say, oh my God, it's just me. I'm just not. Don't feed into it. Let it be. Your higher self, your guides have already said, not good. Leave it alone. Don't touch that. My mother used to walk around the house. She goes, go ahead, touch the stove. Go ahead. Go ahead, touch it. Go. Go. I told you not to touch it. You burnt, didn't you? You got yourself burnt, didn't you? My grandmother used to say that. You got yourself burnt, didn't you? Told you not to touch it. So sometimes we just have to listen to ourselves and not get ourselves burnt. Just listen and say, nope, not supposed to do that. Can't. I'm not supposed to do that. And if somebody doesn't like you for a while, They're going to make somebody else's life miserable. Leave you alone. They'll go over somewhere else. Leave you alone. So find your purpose, find your vibration within your life, but really know that your guides want you to find your purpose. They want you to find that. If you've already got your purpose, then collect your vacation money. Go on vacation. Go on recess. Because you've already done your purpose. The rest of your lifetime is supposed to be fun. Not miserable, not crazy, fun. And that's how I've always believed that in my life. I'm on a journey. I'm on a vibration in my life. And when the time comes I get to go on recess, you're going to hear screaming all the way from here to Seattle, Washington, that I'm on recess. I'm taking a break. And that's what we should have, that an idea in our lives that we'll eventually take this break. We'll eventually go to where we need to be. Now, remember, next week we are not having it